Fact sheet. President Biden restores protections for 3 national monuments and renews American leadership to stewards lands, waters, and cultural resources. From the White House briefing room, October 7th, 2021. As part of the Biden-Harris administration's effort to better protect, conserve, and restore the lands and waters that sustain the health of communities and power our economy, President Biden will sign 3 proclamations restoring protections for Bears Ears, Grand Staircase Escalante, and Northeast Canyons and Seamounts national monuments. By restoring these national monuments, which were significantly cut back during the previous administration, President Biden is fulfilling a key promise and upholding the long-standing principle that America's national parks, monuments, and other protected areas are to be protected for all time and for all people. The specific actions that President Biden is taking today are: restoring the Bears Ears National Monument to the boundaries established by President Obama on December 28, 2016, and retaining protections for an additional 11,200 acres added by President Trump in 2017. Restoring these protections will conserve a multitude of sites that are culturally and spiritually important to tribal nations, including petroglyphs, pictographs, cultural sites, dwellings, and areas used for traditional rituals, gatherings, and tribal practices, as well as paleontological objects, landscape features, historic objects, and plants and animal species. Restoring the monument's boundaries and conditions restores its integrity, upholds efforts to honor the federal trust responsibility to tribal nations, and conserves these lands and waters for future generations. With this action, the total protected area of Bears Ears National Monument is 1.36 million acres. In restoring the Bears Ears National Monument, the Biden-Harris administration is committing to ensuring that there is adequate staffing and resources to appropriately protect the area's natural and cultural resources, to manage the increased visitation that the area continues to experience, and to make Bears Ears a model for tribal participation in the management of the monument. The Bureau of Land Management plans to assign additional rangers to the region, install appropriate signage and infrastructure to inform and support visitors, begin working with local communities, the state of Utah, and tribal leaders on assessing the potential opportunity for a Bears Ears Visitor Center that highlights the monument's cultural resources and supports the Bears Ears Intertribal Commission's participation in management of the monument. 2. Restoring Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument to the boundaries that were in place on January 20, 2017. Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument was first protected in 1996, and as described in Proclamation 6920, the landscape holds world-class geological objects of historic or scientific interest, including the Grand Staircase, White and Vermilion Cliffs, Kaiparowitz Plateau, Escalante Natural Bridge, Grosvenor Arch, and numerous other enumerated geologic objects. The monument also contains vast paleontological objects, including significant fossils of marine and brackish water mollusks, turtles, crocodilians, lizards, dinosaurs, fishes, and mammals, as well as a host of cultural objects associated with both ancient indigenous cultures and early Latter-day Saints pioneers, including, but not limited to, petroglyphs and pictographs, occupation sites, campsites, granaries, and trails. The monument also contains hanging gardens, tinajas, and rock crevice, canyon bottom, and duno pocket communities, protecting the region's unusual and diverse soils, endemic plants and pollinators, relic vegetation, and diverse wildlife. Restoring the monument's conditions and boundaries will restore its integrity, support the continued scientific exploration as outlined in Proclamation 6920, protect our shared lands and waters for future generations, and continue this administration's historic efforts to honor the federal trust responsibility. The total protected area of Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument is restored to 1.87 million acres.